Potato prices started off with a bang this week. In this week's AMT Fruit and Vegetable Market Overview made possible by FieldNet Pivot Watch, we focus on these price movements and take a closer look at other fruit and vegetable price movements on the markets. All in this week's episode, so make sure to stay tuned. The rand strengthened to 17.35 Rand per US dollar, which can be attributed to a 50 basis point reduction in US interest rates, while our local rates were only adjusted by 25 basis points. However, the central bank has indicated that further steps are necessary now to improve South Africa's economic condition, and we can thus expect another downward adjustment when the new rates are announced in November. The Brent crude oil price has increased by about 4% over the past week and is now trading on $74.85 per barrel. This increase can be attributed to the conflict between Hezbollah and Israel at the moment, which could potentially affect supply from the region. However, I believe the greater influence has come from the global interest rate cuts, which have brought hope for better oil demand, while numerous stimulus packages were also announced in China, which could also have a positive effect on demand and is thus driving oil prices higher at the moment. Discover FieldNet Pivot Watch, your cost-effective monitoring solution that fits any pivot. Monitor any pivot, anytime, anywhere. Make sure to get your quote on FieldNet Pivot Watch now and contact your nearest Zimmatic dealer for a quote today. Last week, the average national potato price stayed close to the 100 Rand mark and traded on 100.39 Rand per 10 kg, with volumes about 3% higher than the previous week. The volumes were 23% lower last week compared to a month ago, but still about 30% higher than last year this time when prices spiked to about 120 Rand. This week, however, started off with a bang, with the average price increasing to 119 Rand per 10 kg on Monday. The major driver of this increase was the large potato price, which traded close to 154 Rand per 10 kg on Monday, while Mondials and Safra prices also showed significant increases. Mondials traded on 119, Safras on 113, and Le Normas on 87 Rand on Monday. Lower volumes of large, mediums and extra large potatoes will most likely keep the average price on a higher level for now. I think that the price is likely to stay on a higher level for this and next week maybe, but it will then most likely decrease as fast as it increased as well. The average onion price remained in its downward trend, decreasing by 11% to 47.89 Rand per 10 kg, with volumes increasing week on week. Brown onion prices decreased to 46, red onions decreased to 73, while white onion prices decreased to 49 Rand per 10 kg. The average large onion price traded on 42, mediums on 55, and smalls lower on 34 Rand per 10 kg bag. On Monday, the average price opened up much lower on 43 Rand 2 cents, which can result in prices to stay under pressure this week as well, and will probably stay below the 50 Rand mark for the remainder of this year. The tomato price decreased by 4% to 11 Rand 3 cents per kilogram, with volumes increasing by 4% week on week. Large tomatoes traded on 12 Rand 53, mediums on 11 Rand 13, while smalls decreased to 8 Rand 89. We're still expecting volumes to the markets to pick up from here, which will likely drive prices downward during October. On Monday, however, the price traded on 13 Rand 54, which could mean higher prices for this week due to higher month-end demand. The average carrot price decreased to 5 Rand 8 cents per kilogram last week, while volumes increased by 4% week on week. Large carrots traded on 5 Rand 61, mediums lower on 4 Rand 31, and smalls higher on 3 Rand per kilogram. We actually saw significantly higher prices at the start of the week, with the average price on 6 Rand 42, which could mean higher prices for this week as well. I, however, think that the price can decrease in October, but then move higher towards December again, as we usually see higher demand during December. The average pepper price decreased to 20 Rand 61 per kilogram, while green pepper prices decreased to 18 Rand 16. Yellow peppers decreased to 18 Rand 95, while red peppers traded 10% lower on 27 Rand 11. I think that the price can stay in this downward trend during October and November, when we expect higher volumes to put pressure on this price. The average cabbage price decreased to 2 Rand 50 per kilogram last week, which was mostly due to 10% higher volumes on the market. We're still expecting this price to move downward and stay below the 3 Rand mark as we approach the end of this year. Garlic prices decreased to 80 Rand per kilogram and is also likely to stay in its downward trend for the rest of this year. The spinach price decreased by 25% last week to 2 Rand 83 due to 30% higher volumes week on week. We're expecting spinach volumes to pick up in October and November, which can keep these prices under pressure. Sweet potato prices increased to 8 Rand 23 and will likely stay on a higher level during October due to lower expected volumes. The average pumpkin price decreased to 2 Rand 31, butternuts decreased to 4 Rand 20, while the average green bean price traded on 14 Rand 64. Cucumbers traded lower on 12 Rand 95 per kilogram last week. If we take a quick look at what happened over in the fruit markets, the banana price increased to 9 Rand 88 per kilogram or 178 Rand per 18 kilogram box, with volumes decreasing by 4% week on week. The average price is likely to stay in this upward trend for the remainder of this year. The latest apple price increased to 11 Rand 31, pear prices increased to 10 Rand 94 per kilogram, and both these prices can most likely remain in an upward trend for the remainder of this year. The orange price increased to 7 Rand 32 the past week and can also remain in an upward trend until February 2025. The avo price increased by 4% to 22 Rand 83 per kilogram, with volumes that decreased by about 7% week on week. Viertes traded higher on 29, Haas also bid higher on 19 Rand, while Pinkertons decreased slightly to 24 Rand per kilogram. This price is likely to stay in this upward trend until January next year and then decrease significantly in February and March, when we usually see the local volumes entering into the markets. The average table grape price decreased to 34 Rand 29 due to 85% more volumes week on week. But I think this price can recover in October, as the first significant local volumes will only start to enter into the markets in December. Pineapple prices traded lower on 13 Rand 41, lemons decreased to 5 Rand 68, while the average blueberry price traded 54% higher on 98 Rand 20 per kilogram. This video is made possible by FieldNet Pivot Watch by Lindsay. Visit our website at amtrends.co.za for more detailed reports, prices and videos. If you'd like to advertise on these videos, make sure to contact me now. I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe and thank you for watching.